American farmers have destroyed themselves by voting for this Trump regime. Their hate for so many groups of people that they have learned to demonize allowed them to vote themselves out of business by voting for Donald Trump and today's MAGA Republicans. I don't know what else to say. We already know how the American soybean farmer was decimated this fall. China, their biggest customer, placed exactly 0 orders for soybeans from American farmers because of Donald Trump's regime's tariffs. They went to Brazil. We all saw the videos of the farmers crying in Arkansas, I believe it was. Please, Mr. President, we love you, but come save us. Oh, you guys, it just gets so much worse. So you know how our $20 billion in taxes, yours, Mr. Farmer, and mine, was just snatched from us and given to the leader of Argentina to help keep their version of Donald Trump in power? Your 20 billion and my 20 billion? This was screenshot on our Department of Treasury's cell phone from our Department of Agriculture. Ready? Finally, just a heads up, I'm getting more intel, but this is highly unfortunate, the text said. We bailed out Argentina yesterday, and in return, the Argentines are removing their export tariffs on grains, reducing their price, and sold a bunch of soybeans to China at a time when we would normally be selling to China. Soy prices are dropping further because of it. This gives China more leverage on us. And he responds, Besant responds, on a plane, Scott, but I'll call you when I land. You guys voted for this. The Democrats, who y'all hate so much, you've been programmed to hate your fellow neighbor, your family members. You guys voted for this. We warned all of you because we're not in a cult. We could see how these decisions affect businesses, affect our farmers. We were fighting for farmers, telling you don't vote for this, and you voted for this. Your tax dollars, this Trump administration just used to fuck you even further, Mr. Soybean Farmer, and grains. This affects a lot of other farmers, not just soybean farmers. Anybody who harvests and sells grains to China. Here you go.
Imagine this, you're a hardworking American farmer struggling to keep your family alive as, soybean prices crash. Your crops rot in silos and bills keep piling up, and then, out of nowhere, you hear that the Trump administration just handed Argentina, a foreign country, $20 billion in financial support. Meanwhile, you're left with nothing but broken promises. How does that make sense?
I keep trying to make this video under 3 minutes, but it's important for me to make sure that all the details are here. There's some breaking news in that Scott Bessent received a text message from the agricultural secretary during the UN meetings, and the Associated Press snapped a picture of that text message over his shoulder. And what it did was it shone a light on the ineptitudes of this administration and the people that this administration puts in charge of keeping this country running smoothly. See, what happened was Donald Trump and Scott Bessent gave Argentina a $20 billion bailout with your tax dollars and mine because of their slumped economy just ahead of the election. So as soon as that $20 billion was in the president's hand of Argentina, they dropped all of the tariffs and taxes on grain export, and China bought 20 boatloads of soybeans from Argentina. Now, these are sales that Argentina would never have had because China bought soybeans from American farmers up until this whole tariff war. So the president of Argentina, Milei, is a good friend of Donald Trump's. So basically the text message that was on Scott Bessent's phone from the agricultural secretary said, you're not going to believe what Argentina just fucking did. And sent him a link to an X account that was talking about it. And it was an X account owned by Ben Scholl, who's a grain expert. And he said China and Argentina work together for soybeans as Besant offers to subsidize the Argentine economy. They think you are stupid. You meaning the United States government, Donald Trump, Scott Besant, and every other Trumpy sycophant who will do anything to please that man. Let me break it down. Argentina gets 20 billion of your tax dollars and my tax dollars, while Americans can't afford groceries or gas. Farmers are sinking. Their farms are failing. They can't feed their kids. The same people who called us communists and socialists are standing at the White House with their hand out, begging for a socialist handout because their farms have gone under thanks to this administration. And then after Argentina gets that $20 billion, they turn around, drop the tariffs and the taxes for China to buy up all of Argentina's soybeans, blocking out the American farmers from soybean sales to China completely. So we got like quadruple fucked in the entire deal, and we're out $20 billion. Meanwhile, homeless veterans still exist. Veterans can no longer afford their medication for their cancer treatments, and the government's telling them, oh well, die off. They lived an honorable life. And American red hats are still pretending like nothing is wrong. Their egos have them refusing to admit that this man is driving our economy into the ground. It is a series of steps like these over the next few years that is going to tank our economy and put more Americans out of jobs and out of homes. Told you so.
So let's get this right. So we gonna bail out Argentina, another country, where we got farmers over here that's suffering like a motherfucker. Not only farmers, we got people. Our economy is the shits right now. Especially with the farmers. Trump just fucked them all the way over. Where they bail out at? Your tariffs will fuck them up. And how is that American first bailing out, selling billions of dollars to Argentina to bail them out? That just don't make sense to me at all. But it do make sense when you really just bailing out your billionaire friends that invested over there in that country. And when their economy went to shits, we bailing them out. But we got farmers over here that's suffering like a motherfucker because of you. Help them. Don't say when the tariffs come, the money start coming in. Help them now. People need help right now. Not when. Shit crazy.
Good morning. So it's Monday morning and it's already started out to be a tough week. Anyway, I just wanted to weigh in a little bit because I'm trying to figure out MAGA if you have won. The sad part about all of this is that you're losing your jobs. The soybean farmers are just screwed. And not only on top of that, he started the trade war. He screwed y'all the first term with the trade war, and you all almost lost everything. Now you've lost everything, and now your boy gave $20 billion to Argentina so that Argentina can now sell soybeans, your soybeans that you need to sell to China. And he's bailing them out because his little friend did the same thing Trump is doing here and tanked their economy with that Doge type thing, tanked the economy. And now here we are. Also, from what I'm understanding, his friends are going to get billions and billions of dollars because they had invested in Argentina. They're going to lose their investments. Now, because that $20 billion bailout, Argentina's going to be helped, gave their export taxes down to zero to China. Soybean farmers, you're screwed. And the sad part about it is, after all of this, your hate is so strong, you would vote for him again.
Hi, this video is for the America First crowd, the why are we sending money to Ukraine crowd. Can you tell me why Trump's going to send $20 billion to Argentina? Why are we sending $20 billion to Argentina? Argentina is the country that China is now buying soybeans from instead of America because of Trump's tariffs. So now we have to bail out our farmers because they can't sell their crops to China, and Argentina's undercutting us and selling their soybeans to China. But we're going to bail out Argentina to the tune of $20 billion. Trump's going to do this. Trump's sending this money. So can the America First crowd explain this to me? I'm confused. I thought we needed to take care of America first. I thought we needed to spend all that money that we're sending to Ukraine on America and Americans. So why are we sending $20 billion to Argentina? Who's just undercutting our citizens?
Republicans in farm country are utterly livid at the Trump administration for an frankly inscrutable, utterly outrageous bailout that it made to Argentina last week. But why are farmers angry? So here's why. Because of Trump's trade war with China, China has bought 0 soybeans from American farmers this year. China eats about 2/3 of all the soybeans around the world. Last year, China, I think, accounted for about 52% of soybean purchases. So in other words, without China buying soybeans from U.S. farmers, our farmers are utterly screwed. Now, the only other real alternatives for China are, one, to grow them in China, and they're trying to do that long term, but really to purchase them from Brazil and also Argentina. Most of what they get, but when they're not getting it from us, comes from Brazil, but Argentina is also a huge producer of soybeans. So last week, the Trump administration announced a $20 billion bailout of Argentina because Trump said he's supporting his friend in the upcoming election, Javier Milei. Javier Milei, you might remember, this is Elon Musk's buddy who did like a Doge-type move on Argentina, and he drove the Argentinian economy into the ground, now needs a massive bailout. So Trump is offering this $20 billion lifeline. The same day that Trump and Besant announced this lifeline, Reuters reports that Argentina is now shipping massive amounts of soybeans to China and cut its export taxes to 0. In other words, the American money that we're sending to Argentina is making up the gap. So Argentina now doesn't have to charge these export fees on its soybeans, so China gets a huge discount. So China is out there scrambling, trying to find soybeans to feed its population without buying American soybeans because they're in a trade war that we started with them. And Trump just made it much cheaper and easier for China to buy those from Argentina. Now, there's another brutal aspect to this that isn't getting any coverage, and it's that American hedge funds invested heavily in Argentina after Milei was elected because they thought that his libertarian /everything approach to the economy was actually going to turn things around and make Argentina a good investment. It didn't work at all. The economy collapsed. And so these American hedge funds were about to lose billions and billions of dollars on these stupid investments. But now Besant, a former hedge fund guy, is the Treasury Secretary now, is coming in, and thanks to the bailout, the hedge funds are actually going to make a profit. And the final piece of this is that this is not the first time that Trump has done this to soybean farmers. The first time he was president, he started a trade war with China, and China responded by not buying soybeans from American farmers. And China instead told Brazil, we want to up our purchases from you. And then they actually started investing and helping Brazil build more highways, and they're putting more than $200 million into this port of Santos to help create capacity so that they can massively expand production of soybeans and exports to China. So they've basically almost doubled production from 2017 to today. Brazil has, and of course, all of these Brazilian soybeans that are being produced now are coming at the expense of the Amazonian rainforest, which was chopped down in order to make room for them. So awesome! Everybody's winning.
Hey Mainers, President Trump is giving a $20 billion bailout to Argentina. There's at least 3 reasons this is kind of a staggering piece of news, and the third is the toughest to swallow. First, because a $20 billion bailout of another country is the opposite of President Trump's America First philosophy. Second, because President Trump's Treasury Secretary has said openly that the bailout is because Argentina's president, who is an ally of President Trump's, needs a, quote, bridge to the election. His economy is falling apart and his party was just crushed in local elections, so the president's own re-election prospects are in trouble. So President Trump is openly giving Argentina $20 billion of our tax dollars to help his friend win re-election. And somehow that's not even the most startling part of this. The third reason this is staggering is because President Trump's trade war has resulted in China no longer purchasing American soybeans. Literally, China hasn't purchased a single soybean from the US in the last 2 months and has not placed a single order for US soybeans for the coming peak harvest season. Of the $24.5 billion worth of soybeans that the US farmers exported last year, China bought more than half of them, $12.5 billion worth. This is killing US farms, and farmers are feeling panicked and betrayed.
Mr. Trump, you looked at me, sir, and you said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do.
But guess who is selling soybeans to China? Argentina. The three biggest soybean producers in the world are the US, Brazil, and Argentina. And last week, Argentina's president, President Trump's ally, slashed its export tax on soybeans to zero. He's taking advantage of China shutting out American soybeans and making it easier for Argentinian farmers to sell their soybeans to China while American farmers are getting screwed. It is indisputable. President Trump is propping up a guy who is helping crush American soybean farmers.
Trump supporters, what do you think about giving Argentina $20 billion this week and then them turning around and reducing the export tax and selling soybeans to China and farmers begging for help? Please drop your comments below.
Where are all of the America First patriots now that Donald Trump wants to give Argentina billions of our taxpayer dollars? I thought you guys didn't want the United States to give money to Ukraine because that's not our war. You guys were okay with the US giving money to Israel so that they can commit it. But what's going on now? Do we have to bail out Argentina, a country that has absolutely nothing to do with us? After the president they elected into office promised that he was the solution to all of their problems, and now we have to bail them out? Is Donald Trump putting America first when he's gonna give up to $20 billion to Argentina? Donald Trump is defunding programs that Americans need, but there is money to send to Argentina? Did I get that right? Is that America first? I'm a little confused.
Let me get this straight. Donald Trump is threatening to shut down the United States government because he claims we cannot afford to protect 15 million Americans from losing their health care. Yet, at the same time, he is willing to send $20 billion, with a B, dollars to Argentina to keep its corrupt government afloat. America first? That claim could not be further from the truth.
American soybean farmers, let's have a chat. One farm family to another. Are you aware that Trump is planning to send $20 billion to Argentina to bail them out? All because his buddy is running for re-election. He wants to make sure he gets re-elected. He's bailing them out. Plus, Argentina just made a humongous deal with China and took your biggest soybean market. So now China, they don't need any American soybeans. They get everything they need from Argentina. Plus, Argentina is getting your tax dollars to bail them out. Trump doesn't plan to give you any bailout. He said maybe when the tariffs start paying off that he'd give you a little something, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that one because we've all figured out by now, right? That that's a tax on the consumer. And that's what's killing your farm. Yeah. I didn't vote for this, and I never have, and I never would. I can't stand Donald Trump. Real curious how some of you can still support this. Can't see that he's just continuing to stab you in the back. I have a feeling a lot of you voted for this because you didn't want to see undocumented immigrants come to this country and take American jobs. But they didn't have to come in this country to take your job. Donald Trump just handed it to them on a silver platter. And your tax money too. He does not care about you. What's it going to take for you to realize that?
Well, folks, there's a storm brewing in soybeans. China just bought a big batch from Argentina, not from the USA. And let me tell you, tariffs we slapped on years ago and during this new administration are the reason why. Here's what happened, according to Reuters. Argentina suspended export taxes, making their soybeans cheaper on the international market. And China swooped in and booked at least 10 cargoes, each around 65,000 tons. Meanwhile, not a single cargo from the brand new American harvest. We got cut out of the deal completely. Now, this isn't just about Argentina dropping taxes. This story starts years ago and continues through this new Trump administration with the U.S.-China trade war. When America slapped tariffs on Chinese goods, Beijing hit back with retaliatory tariffs on U.S. soybeans. This made our beans more expensive for Chinese buyers. Now, here's the thing. Once China got burned, they learned not to rely so heavily on American soy. They started building long-term supply from South America, Brazil first, and now Argentina. So every time tariffs went up, U.S. farmers paid the price, not the folks in Washington, D.C. We lost trust and we lost market share. So now, with Argentina's beans cheaper, China doesn't even look at us. That means less demand for American soybeans. Less demand means lower prices. For farmers already fighting high fuel and fertilizer costs, this isn't just a headache, it's the difference between profit and loss. And this isn't a one-off. If China keeps buying from Argentina, it cements a pattern. America gets sidelined while South America gets stronger. And markets don't forgive lost trust. Once a buyer moves on, they don't always come back. That's the real danger of these tariffs wars. You win the headline fight, but you lose the customer forever. Tariffs sound tough in D.C., but out here where we raise these crops, they land like a hammer. Farmers didn't pick the trade fight with China, but they've been paying for it every harvest. We produce the best beans in the world, but when tariffs make our crop more expensive, China shops elsewhere. And now, Argentina, with this tax break, slips right in. So what's the fix? We need smarter trade deals, not headline tariff wars. We need long-term partnerships with buyers, not quick political stunts. And we need to keep American farmers competitive by making sure we're not priced out with our own policies. Folks, these tariffs were sold as tough talk, but in the end, they opened the door for Argentina and Brazil to take our markets. And that's bad news for every American. If you care about keeping American farms alive, if you care about protecting the U.S. food supply and keeping food inexpensive for Americans, share this video with your neighbors and tell them these trade wars are costing us. And it's not just the farmers in rural America that are paying the price. Pretty soon, it's going to be all of us.
Oh, so that is why Trump is giving a $20 billion bailout to Argentina. Now it makes sense. Okay, so you heard about this, right? As our government prepares to shut down because Trump refuses to give healthcare coverage to Americans, he instead is giving $20 billion cash to the insane, failed regime of Javier Milei. Why? Corruption. Of course. What the hell else could it be? So this is our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, the man getting filthy rich off the tariffs. But wait, why is he and his friend Robert Citron buying up Argentina's bonds lately? Yep, this is Robert Citron, Bessent's billionaire buddy. They're good friends, they've worked together a long time, and he has been investing heavily into Argentina ever since Milei took over. Which, as you can imagine, is not going very well for him. So this bailout will directly benefit Citron and presumably every member of Trump's administration who was given insider tips about this in advance. Oh, and look at this.
So it's no surprise to anybody that Argentina has been in trouble now financially as a country for quite some time. And it's getting worse for them. Why am I talking about Argentina? Well, Donald Trump has pledged $20 billion to Argentina to help them with their economy, specifically in regards to agriculture. Their agriculture economy is falling apart, basically. Now, Donald Trump was quizzed on this, and so was Bessent. And Bessent said, well, you know what, we're able to finance this because of the amount of money that we're making on tariffs. We're making billions, so therefore we are going to help a friend and send them $20 billion. That's right. Donald Trump, who is taxing American farmers with a tariff and taking money from American farmers is now taking that money and giving it to Argentinian farmers. Does anybody else not realize that's what's happening? The American agricultural industry is in despair right now because of many reasons. One of them, of course, being the effect of tariffs. In a crazy twist to this story, Argentina have actually reduced their taxes on soybeans. So China is now also buying soybeans from Argentina, and they're not buying anything from the United States. Folks, the source for this is MSNBC and CNN. My name is Nick. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Now, farmers in America, especially soybean farmers, have been taking the biggest hit from Trump's trade war with China. The tariffs slammed the market, cutting off one of the largest buyers of US soybean. Farmers begged for relief, and what did they get? A patchwork bailout that doesn't even scratch the surface of their losses. But here's the kicker. While American farmers drown in debt, the Trump administration writes a whopping $20 billion check to Argentina. Why Argentina? Because global markets still need soybeans, and instead of supporting American farmers, the US props up foreign competitors. The very people who voted who voted for Trump, believing he would fight for them, are now realizing, they've been left behind. This isn't just about soybeans, it's about priorities. When the government has billions to hand out overseas, but leaves its own farmers to fend for themselves, what does that say about where American loyalty really lies? Farmers are not just, statistics, they are families. Generations of hard work, the backbone of America's food supply, yet they are being pushed aside while foreign nations cash in. So here is the question. Was this administration ever, truly fighting for American farmers, as they say, America first? Or was it always about power and deals that, left rural America holding the short end of the stick? How much longer can farmers survive this policy before family farms disappear for good? What do you think? Should the US government be investing billions in Argentina while American farmers are begging for help? Or is this proof that people who put Trump in office are now paying the highest price? Let's talk about it, guys. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, and please do well to subscribe, to help the channel grow and enable us to reach larger audience. Don't forget, these videos are for educational purposes, and credits to original creators. I'll see you guys on my next video.